Just waiting on everyone to join. All right, we got our first viewer here. Wait a couple more minutes. Wait for everyone else to join. Hey, hey, Marduk. All right, wait a couple more minutes before we get started. Nice. 2.5 gigahashes for Ravencoin. It's good. Yeah, Ravencoin's still hanging around. You know, still yeah, if you got really low electric rate, it's pretty good money there on Ravencoin. You know, I feel bad for all those Europeans down there, Germany. Their electric rate's like 20 cents or whatever it is. You know, they can't afford anything down there. All right, so we got what, 7 viewers, and I'm streaming this on YouTube, Facebook. Hopefully, Instagram's working on Twitter. Nice, yeah, free electricity, huh? Marduk from the Dominican. Nice, nice. Yeah, so you have free electricity. So how much power do they give you for free? I mean, if you start using like a megawatt of power, I mean, will the government show up and start asking questions? Why are you using a megawatt when it's free? Or what happens down there in the Dominican Republic? No, this is not Germany. I'm not in Germany. I'm in the United States. So why you guys are get that answer from a Dominican guy? So today's video, I'll be showing you guys around the 2.2 megawatt farm, and just showing you guys around. You know, if anyone out there is interested in hosting, so we're looking for hosting here. You can see the ASIC farm. Basically, it's complete. We're just waiting on the finalization of who we're going to be hosting with. Is it going to be ASIC? Is it going to be GPUs? You know, and the reason for that is because if it's GPUs, it's going to be different. It's going to be a different setup. So since it's going to be different setup, we can't really install, you know, the racks. We can't do that yet. We can't wire everything because you're going to be using octominers or we're going to be using ASICs. So that all depends. Also, if someone comes in and says, hey, I want to host, but I want to host with WhatsMiner. WhatsMiner is a different setup than an S19, you know, J or S19 Pro or S17 Plus or S19 XP. It's all different. So we need to know what that is before we finalize the setup. So as of right now, we're just kind of doing little things, kind of working on little things, but not really. We're just waiting for that final client, whoever's going to be the ones to host. So as you can see, we have our rebar here. We have our conduits all done. We have our wire. Everything's kind of just waiting for that client. So about 3 weeks time, this farm will be done as soon as we have someone that wants to host with us. All right. So I'll be showing you guys around. Let me read some of your guys' questions here. Okay, Randy. Oh, first let me answer the Dominican guy. Energy Marduk. Nope, this is a very corrupt country. Talking about Dominican Republic. Let's see how this works here. Okay, so you said it's a very corrupt country. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I have no idea. You live there, so you would know better. So for something like that, if you had a megawatt, would the authorities start asking questions? Because they know that there's a load going on. Like they look at their grid and they see that there's like a blimp here somewhere out in the city or somewhere out in the countryside. Someone's using a megawatt, and they'll be asking questions like, "What's going on? The electricity is free, but someone is consuming a megawatt." So what would happen in that situation? Let us know. Here's another question. What is a kilowatt price where you are? So our kilowatt price is 5.8, and that depends if you get the high density load. So it's 5.8 all in. So your base price is 4.2. Peak price is 6.8, I think it is. That's the peak price. So all in is 5.8 when you count everything. So if you were to do any hosting, right, they charge kilowatt hour for hosting. So if you do any hosting, that you pay per the kilowatt hour. So for our kilowatt hour, that'd be all in. It'd be 5.8. That's what we pay, and then we charge on top of that, you know, for the infrastructure and all that stuff. So if you wanted to host a us, it'd be more than 5.8. Here's another question. I thought it was in Germany. This is a U.S. ASIC mine. Yes, it is. This is a U.S. ASIC mine. This is not Germany. I don't think it's possible to mine in Germany. I mean, Germany is really stupid, you know, for mining, for energy. The tree huggers over there, they love saving trees in their own population. They don't care about their own Germans at all. So if anyone wanted to host or mine in Germany, you basically don't have any chance of that happening. So there's no, you know, it'd be almost impossible for us to host in Germany. Most likely, but the thing is, the area where I have my rigs is populated with a lot of business that demand a lot of power electricity. So this is from the Dominican guy. Okay, most likely, yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Like, what would happen if you were using a megawatt? So in your situation, you're just using 2.5 gigahashes. I don't have a calculator on me right now to kind of calculate how much power that is. If you want to write that in, let everyone know how much are you getting away with. Because like you said, you have free electricity in Dominican Republic. How much are you using like right now on a standard, 24/7 rate? Are you using? Actually, I don't even know what number to throw out there. I was gonna say maybe 100 kVA, but I have no idea how much 2.5 on Ravencoin would be. But let us know. They don't pay attention to it. Yeah, interesting. Oh, there it is. There, you answered it. I should have just scrolled down a little lower. Right now, 20 kW. Okay. Yeah, so they're not going to really notice that little amount of electricity, I would think. Not going to really notice that much. So what state are we located in? We are located in the Northwest, so the Pacific Northwest. So that's going to be like Washington, Oregon. I mean, there's Vancouver, Canada, you know, in that area. We're up there. Brian, okay, Brian, here's a good question. Okay, so this is the one thing we wanted to talk about for today's video, is talk about the low power mode. So I want to show you guys the difference between that low power mode and just having the full blast. We walk over to this container here. So these containers, if we were to go with S19 Pros, right? We were to put S19 Pros in there. These containers can handle, I think it was 330 or 350 miners, right? It's six miners in a row, stacked all the way from the left to the right, you know, fully loaded, 100% loaded container. You can fit that many in there. Now we have 1 container, 2 containers, and 3 containers, right? Now, if we were to run in low power mode, right, we would need more space. That's what that 3rd container is for. Because technically, if you run the S19 Pros at the full blast, right? Full power users. Let's take a S19J Pro. Let's say it's 100 terahash or 104 terahash. It uses, 29.5 is the efficiency times 100 terahashes. It uses about 2,950 watts is what it uses. It's about 3,000 watts. Now, 3,000 watts, 3,000 watts per miner. In a container, you have about 330 spots. That's pretty much exactly 1 megawatt. So you can put a megawatt into this container. You can put a megawatt into that container. That's 2 megawatts. Now, at this site, we have 2.2 megawatt transformer. Right? This transformer right over here is 2.2 megawatts. So we have an extra 200,000 watts that's available. 200,000 watts. So those 200 will go in there. Now, if you go to low power mode, now you're saving a lot of power. At low power mode on S19J Pro, we did our tests from 104 terahashes, you're dropping down to 77 terahashes, but you're increasing your efficiency from 29.5 down to 25, right? So that means you need a lot more space. You're running them slower, you need a lot more space. And by our calculations, you can take these 3 containers, you can fill them all up with S19J Pro in low power mode, and they will consume 2.2 megawatts. So it's perfect. If anyone wanted to host all 2.2 megawatts with us, you can do them all at low power mode. And that's what we would recommend, because you make more money. You grab any mining calculator, ASIC, or you go for like a Bitmain mining calculator, just type in those numbers, 77 terahashes times how many miners you need. So how many miners you need is going to be 25 watts a terahash times 77. That'll give you your watts. Then you take that number, divide that by 2.2 million watts. That'll give you the amount of ASICs you'll require, and those ASICs will fit into these 3 containers. It's actually perfect. And you can take that number, the terahashes that you would have at the end, those ASICs times 77 terahashes, put them in a calculator. You'd make a lot more money mining at low power mode. You'd, of course, use more space, and that's what that 3rd container is for that extra space. So it's actually perfect. And that's what we recommend. Anyone that's interested, go for that. All right, let's see what else we have here. Looking at your guys' comments. All right, so that's what we wanted to do with low power mode. Now, there are other options, like if you wanted to go for Watts miner, a lot of the Watts miners are, they only have 2 fans, just one front fan, one rear fan, exhaust fan. And for Watts miner, it's to be a different setup because you're taking up less space, and we have to build out the crack. This is also the reason why we're not finishing them. We're not finishing them. We're waiting. We don't want to build it out for S19 Pro and then have someone come in here and be like, "Hey, I want to do Watts miner," and then we have to redo everything. So we don't want to do that. We're waiting. So I'll show you. I'll give you guys another little walkthrough here. So we finished up the rebar. This whole container is pretty much done. That's where the panels are going to go, right on that plywood over there. Rebar, put them anti-rust paint on them. Had them cleaned up, painted. They are welded together. Every single point is welded. Also welded here to this container sheet metal, or it's not even sheet metal. It's really, really thick. It doesn't look so thick, but when you start cutting this thing, it is really thick. Very, very sturdy metal. Whatever they're using for that, like really thick steel. I think that's what it is. But it's good quality metal. So they're not cheaping out on containers. It's really thick. But with the rebar, so this is exhaust. It's going to be blowing out from here towards me. Intake's over there on that side. And then the panels. And then we are going to be installing our computer right over there in that corner. So that's what we're going to have. The computer, you can see, is kind of blocked off from that point where my finger is to that corner over there. That's blocked off, so that way, the person that's in here that's working on ASICs or GPUs is not going to freeze to death, having that cold air blowing on them. Because it gets the fans create so much pressure inside and it gets so like windy that when it's 30 degrees, 20 degrees, like snowing outside, and it's blowing on you really, really hard, you can literally like freeze to death. Very cold. All right, so what else I want to show you guys around? So again, on the opposite side of these pipes, we're gonna have our other panel. It's pretty much already installed. It's just some placement nuts, placement screw. But basically, this is where it's gonna come out. Have a little J box coming in, 1, 2. That's panel number 1. Another J box coming in, 3, 4. Panel number 2, 5, 6. Panel number 3. We already pulled all of our lead strings there. Help us pull the copper. So yeah, everything is ready to roll here. And then from this side, this is going to be the exhaust, and we have a lot of stuff in there. So we're gonna finish up this third container only after we get someone to host with us. Only after that will we start working on this container, because a lot of things in there. The panels are in there, the breakers are in there, stuff like that. Like expensive items are in there. So we're not going to be working on this container until we are ready. Until we have a hoster or someone to host with. But yeah, it's going to be blowing out that way. Again, all our containers are locked. They have all their special locks that you can't bite through, and they're located in like a special container. It's like already pre-welded on. Basically protection for the lock. You can't really shove anything in there and chop the lock off. And so there's like a nut in here. Yeah, got some like that. It's basically impossible to shove anything in there and chop it off or cut it off. So yeah. And then our fence here. See how far away it is from our container. Yeah, so basically we're working on other projects right now. This is just one of the projects. We're working on other projects. We have a 1.75 megawatt. For everyone out there that's watches our channel, we have 1.75 megawatts currently running right now. This is our newer project, 2.2. And then we have some GPU projects. The GPU guys, a lot of them put their projects on pause. They put it on pause because it doesn't really make much money. So they said, I'll just wait on it. Hey, DJ Mines, thanks. Thank you for that, the love for the channel. There you go. So yeah, make sure you guys are sticking around. We have some other projects we're working on right now. I'm not going to reveal the details of those projects because, it's like really, really big and it's really, really far out. Kind of more like far-fetched, I would say, early stages. And then who knows if they actually work out. But if they do work out, we're going to have a lot of content for you guys here on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else we're streaming this video. Instagram hopefully is working. We have a lot of content for you guys. So make sure you guys are subscribed and hit like on this live video. Subscribe to the channel. And let me guys know what you guys think about live videos. So this is one thing I was thinking about. Before we were just recording videos on our camera and then just processing it. Adding that little crypto LLC intro, processing it and just throwing it on YouTube as just content. And then I thought maybe live video is more interactive, more fun, I would say. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about live, because it is more interactive. I already answered a bunch of questions. It's pretty cool talking to people, especially if we get like German guys on here. Let us know how their electric prices are, or some like Italians or something like that, or some Spaniards from Spain. Always interesting to know what is their electric rate, because I always assume that their electric rate is just so crazy that no one wants to host or mine anything in the European Union. If you want to mine anything, you might as well just mine in Russia, because it's the only place that has any affordable electricity. that has abundance of electricity and is affordable, or you go to like Canada or United States, also has abundance of electricity and is also affordable. All right, let's see. So here's a question from DJ Minds. I think it's, yeah, looks like he's asking me. Oh man, 17 cents. Jeez. How can you afford to mine anything down there? Do you mind? Let me get that second question. Do you mine with K7, K3, or 9, or just BTC? Yeah, we mine just BTC. We don't mine anything else. Just BTC. I mean, I did see a lot of Bitmain and other manufacturers coming out with like specialized miners, mining other coins, and run the calculations on them. It looks good and it's very profitable. Remember those miners used to cost like 10,000. It's very profitable, but it's like a lot more riskier, and it's a lot harder to sell that to someone out there that wants to host or to build out a mining farm. Because if you tell them, hey, we're going to be mining Bitcoin, right? That's a lot easier to sell because everyone knows what Bitcoin is, and everyone wants to mine Bitcoin. But if you tell them, hey, I want to mine something else, then they're going to be asking questions like, well, what is that? Well, is it reliable? Can I trust it? Well, how do I know that this miner is going to pay itself off? And so on. So we stay away really from other miners. We just mine just Bitcoin. Okay, my electricity rate is 17 cents. Dang. Yeah, that sucks. Where are you? Where's that farm located at that you're paying 17 cents for, DJ Mine? Yeah, I had to turn things off. So when did you turn things off? I mean, were you mining, let me put that on. Were you mining with GPUs? Because if you were mining with GPUs, did you turn things off like in October, September, October is when I think what the Ethereum switch happened? Is that when you had to turn things off, or when did you actually have to stop mining? And then were you ever mining with GPUs? Let me show you guys from the other side of this container here. We have one of our guys here working on the weld. This sheet metal is so heavy. I mean, it doesn't look heavy. Look how big it is, right? You think you're like, I just pick it up and just take it. No way, man. It is crazy heavy. It's crazy heavy. Probably like 150 pounds or something like that. Very heavy. New York. Let's put that on there on the stream. Dang, dude. That's crazy. I'm moving to Virginia end of the year. New York, yeah. If New York was a red state, you probably have a lot cheaper rate. Yeah. And you go anywhere that's a blue state, and they're like, "Oh, stop this! You're hurting the trees. Oh, it's bad for the environment." And then at the same time they support, things like blowing up Nord Stream 2, things like that, which Biden did. So they don't care about the environment. They actually did. They wouldn't blow it up. It's just my home. GPUs mostly. I was 12 cents, then raised me to 17. Dang. Yeah, that's what the residential rate. No, residential rate in our area down here is 8 cents for our residential rate. And one of the reasons why we have such a great rate, even though this is a liberal state that we live in, this mining farm is located in a liberal state. The reason why we have such a great rate, even in such circumstances, is that we have a lot of hydropower. So we have a lot of hydropower, a lot of dams, a lot of water, and it's really, really hard for liberals to go against hydropower, because it's like, well, how is it bad for the environment? Oh, it's the fish, the fish. That's the only argument they have, but they can't really make the CO2 argument. They can't make any kind of emission argument, nothing like that. Pollution argument, all of that, all those arguments don't work. The only one they have left is just the fish, which is a really not a great argument. DTG MAGA, huh? Well, it's the only thing that makes sense. I'll pop some more questions on here. Where did you start? Your operation is so large. Any tips? We raise funds. Okay, so for tips on starting up a farm like this, so if you want to build out something like this, what you need to do is, first of all, you need to have a great rate, right? At least a decent rate. I mean, a great rate would be like 4 cents or 4.5 cents all in. That's a great rate. But if you're below 8, that's decent, and you can still have a pretty good chance of finding hosting for that. So that's still a decent rate. So if you have a rate like that, the next thing you do is you have to have a working sample, a working example, or whatever, something that works, that you could demonstrate, that you could put on social media and talk about it, or and try to promote it, try to push it, and look for anyone out there that wants to build out a farm for themselves, or maybe wants you to manage it for them, or something like that. It just depends on what you're trying to do, but you kind of move up from there. And then as soon as you get your big break, you find one hoster or one investor, whatever you're looking for. Once you find that one big break, and they build out a megawatt, and they build out a couple of megawatts, then you're pretty much in the clear after that. You're pretty much in the clear. You have content for your social media platform, and you can start generating more clients from that one. So you can start going forward. You got to build up your kind of like your reputation, your presence. People need to know who you are. So you need to be in contact with Bitmain. You need to be in contact with HiveOS, with the engineers there, with the sales representatives, with the head of whatever. You need to be in contact with everyone and kind of work things out with them, and then that should help you have that presence, and so on. So that's what I would say. In terms of, like, if you're just mining at your house and you have 5 GPUs, you're probably not going to get anywhere with 5 GPUs. You need to look for like little things. Maybe find some an investor out there that just wants to spend 50,000 or 100,000, something small like that, and have that investor, maybe you take out like a little shop or something like that has cheap rent, and you host GPUs for them. Then off of that, because now you have 100 GPUs or 200 GPUs, off of that you have content, and then you kind of work it up from 100 kVA to 500 kVA, then to a megawatt, then to a couple megawatts, and then to 5-10 megawatts, and so on. So that's how I would work. This is kind of the same, basically any tips to raise funds from DJ Mines, kind of like that. It's really hard to have someone just give you money. It's easier for you to sell them the idea of it's their money, it's their hardware, and stuff like that. And you're just going to manage it for them. You're going to take care of it for them. And it's a great, works for a lot of, I wouldn't say investors. I would just say like asset managers, or people that want to invest in something or buy something, buy an asset. And then from having that asset that belongs to them, and they mine on it and it generates income, a lot of people like that. A lot of people like that. It makes them feel safer, because they know, hey, they're my GPUs. Those are my ASIC machines. Hey, this is my property. These are my containers, and they know that it's theirs. It's physically theirs. They can touch it, like someone that owns this container, he can come up and he can put his hand on it and be like, okay, yeah, I paid for this. This is my container, right? I own this container. I own this gravel. I own this fence. I own everything here, and it makes them feel better about it. Rather than just trying to come to them, say, hey, give me $500,000 and I'm going to build a farm. That's going to be a lot harder to do. Okay, which cryptocurrencies are the GPUs you operate mining? So right now, our GPUs are mining nothing. Our investors or clients or asset managers or whatever you want to call them, they do not want to mine right now because, I mean, it's profitable. It's profitable, but it's right on the borderline. After paying for electricity, after paying our management fee, there is not much left over. There's very little left over. And so if Bitcoin goes down like 10%, whatever is left over will turn into zero. So there's really no point. And we tell our clients that, we don't want to risk it like that. We don't want to turn everything back on and then turn it off 2 weeks later because Bitcoin dumped 10%, So we just tell them, hey, no, gotta wait until Bitcoin is up a good amount. So what we think as of right now, when we should start mining on GPUs is when Bitcoin is like 28,000. If Bitcoin hits 28,000 and above, then we're pretty confident we can start turning things back on, because then, even if it dumps 10%, we're still profitable and still good. Would love to have you on my Friday night live stream if you get 15 minutes to call in. Yeah, I could look into it. I'm just on my phone right now, so I don't know what I'll be doing Friday. I have to look at the schedule and all that, but sure, I don't see why not. Yeah, it'd be great to talk about GPUs and ASIC mining. I have a ping of 2 milliseconds with a server in Germany. How does this help in solo mining? Ping of 2 milliseconds. That's a very small ping. Okay, so this is what will happen if you have a small ping. First of all, if you have 2 millisecond ping or you have a 20 millisecond ping, there really is no big difference between those pings. It's not like it's going to be a huge difference. It's a huge difference if you have a 400 millisecond ping and then you have a 10 millisecond ping. That'd be a huge difference. I mean, it's better than having a bigger ping, of course. So how ping would help you is like this. If your GPU finds the block, your GPU has to submit the block before any other GPU does. So if you have 10 GPUs and GPU number 5 found the block, that GPU number 5 has to submit the block in solo mining to get all the coins. If you have a small ping, then technically your GPU can submit it faster than anyone else. That's assuming that some other GPU on the network found the same block. So if you both found the same block and you have a smaller ping and you can submit it to the pool first, then you would get the reward for that than the other guy that has a bigger ping. But that's assuming that both of you found the same block at the same time. That's a very big assumption. And then that's assuming that, that the pool that you're mining to is also going to submit it in time to the network. So there's a lot of assumptions. So I would say there is really no difference, no big difference at all. You need to have a bigger difference than that. Maybe it's like I said, like 400 milliseconds and 10 milliseconds. That's a big difference. Okay, another question. Do you do solo mining? So solo mining, no, don't do any solo mining. We're not big enough to do solo mining. ASIC, obviously, you need to have like 10,000, not even 10,000, but like 50,000 machines to do any type of solo mining. And then for GPUs, again, we don't have enough. Probably need also a lot of GPUs to be any efficient at solo mining. Because again, in solo mining, you are basically risking all of your electricity and hoping that you're going to find the block before the rest of the pool does. So it's you versus everyone. Let's say there's 1 million GPUs mining and you have 1,000 of them. You're basically rolling the dice on the 1,000 finding the coin faster than the 1 million is finding the coin. So, it's not really worth it unless you have a lot of GPUs and they're very powerful, and you control like a good chunk of the hash rate. Like let's say the hash rate, let's say you own 5% of the hash rate, then sure you can do solo. But right now, like if you do the calculations, a lot of GPU miners they own 0.00000000001%. You'll never ever find a block solo mining. You can literally mine for 10 years and you'll maybe find one. Okay. I've been watching you for a long time. I made a good revenue mining back when it was not as popular. Now, what's your opinion hosting for investors instead of doing it yourself? Okay, I'm going to answer this one last question, then I'm pretty much going to end the stream. Got to go home, drink some coffee. Okay. And I made a good revenue mining back when it was not as popular. Now, what's your opinion hosting for investors instead of doing it yourself? Okay, so for hosting for investors versus doing it yourself, it's better for you to do it yourself if you have a lot of money, like a lot of money. When I mean a lot, I mean like you have like $20 million. Like then it's better for you to host to mine yourself. How hosting works is if you can host it in an area that has almost zero electric costs, you sign up your, I wouldn't say investors, I would say like people that want to mine with you, the hosters, right? If you want to sign them up, you sign them up on like a 5-year agreement. They have to mine for 5 years. They can't turn off the miners pretty much no matter what, unless they're going negative, let's say. In those situations, you can play the market where even if Bitcoin goes down a lot and your hoster is making not that much money, you're still making the same amount of money as you did when Bitcoin was a lot more expensive, right? You're still making the same amount of money. So how you can play that is you can take the extra money you're making there, right? Versus the guy that's actually hosting with you, because he's making not that much, because let's assume Bitcoin's down, a couple of years from now is down again. He's not making that much. You are still making a lot of money because he's hosting with you. You're still making the same amount. You can take that money, you can turn around and buy A6 for cheap. Like right now, Bitcoin's what, 22,000. You can get like S19s for like $18 a terahash, $20 a terahash. You can get used ones for like $16, $14 a terahash. It's a really good deal, right, to jump in and to get A6 right now. And you would be in that position to do that, because if you're hosting, you are still making the same amount of money. So you can turn around, buy A6 for very, very, very cheap price, and they just hold them. You don't, because if let's say you have 10 megawatts, those 10 megawatts are being hosted. You have no additional power for yourself. That's okay. You're making all that money, right? You go around, you buy A6, you take those A6, you don't mine on them, you put them away. You wait until Bitcoin goes back up to 40,000. Then when Bitcoin hits 40,000, you sell those A6 for 3 times the price you bought them for. So that's how you would roll there. So it just depends. I would say it depends how you would, how do I say it? Like it depends how much money you have. If you have 10 million, then build out your ASIC farm, especially if you're in a bear market. If you're in a bear market and you have that amount of money, just build yourself like 10 containers and fill them up with miners, and buy cheap used miners and fill them up, because Bitcoin's obviously going to 30, 40, 50,000 in the near future. So you'll make a lot of money. So you do that right now. And right now, the sucky part is it's backwards for hosting right now. Like if you're hosting, like we're trying to find hosting right now. And what's happening is a lot of people that want to host, when it's the best time to host, they don't want to, right? Because they're like, well, Bitcoin's down and I'm not going to make that much money. So they're like, I'm going to wait until Bitcoin's 50,000. It's like, yeah, you can do that. You can wait until Bitcoin's 50,000. Then you're going to be paying $30 or $40 or $50 a terahash. You're going to pay 4 times the price for the ASIC. You don't start mining when the price is at 50,000. You start mining when the price is at 22, like right now. You start mining when the price is 20, when the price is 25. Very, very low price. That's when you start mining. That's when you build out. That's when you start hosting. Like right now is the best time to jump in and start hosting for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever you want to do. We have various options for this site. You can do 1 year, you can do 2 years, you can do 3 years, whatever you want to do. But right now is the best time because the ASICs are so cheap. You can get S19J Pros for like, $18 a terahash. That's a really, really good price. And to give you another idea of how much the price can jump. So remember, like last year, well, a little bit further than last year. Remember when the Bitcoin was 60,000, 66,000? S19J Pros were $10,000 each. $10,000 each S19J Pro. Okay, each one was $10,000. Right now, you can get them for about $1,800. $1,800. That's 1/5 the price. And all of that is because Bitcoin dumped and people are scared and they don't want to mine, because they're scared. It's all backwards. It's kind of like the backwards mentality. So, for hosting, for finding someone that wants to invest, someone that wants to own asset, because it's not really an investment. You're more like buying an asset, right? You're buying property, you're hosting it, or you're buying miners, you're mining on them. It's an asset. You're buying an asset. You always buy it when it's cheap. You don't buy it when Bitcoin's at $60,000. That's what you don't do. That's when you sell the miners. That's when you sell. Like a smart miner will sell at the peak. He'll grab all his miners and sell them to everyone. Whoever wants to buy them, just sell them. Get rid of them because you're going to make 5 times on those miners, and that's a lot more than you would do just mining on them. All right, let's see what else we got here. You buy from BT miners. Okay, so we sell ASICs. We partner with Bitmain. We partner with used resellers. We know a lot of farms out there that have miners for sale. Like we can source S19Js, S19 Pros, and so on. We can get all those miners. What's miner, S19 XPs. We don't recommend XPs because you're paying like 3 times the price. Might as well just get the S19J Pro and put them on low power mode. That makes more sense to get an XP. But we can buy the miners for you, basically. We can buy the miners for you. So if anyone wanted to host this 2.2 megawatts, you don't need to have the miners. I mean, it's great. You can have them. You can send us whatever you want. You can send us S17s if you wanted to. You can send us S9s. We don't care. You're going to lose money on the S9s, obviously. But we don't care what you want to host. You host anything. But if you don't have the miners, we can buy them for you, right? We can have the miners delivered here in 2 weeks, plug them in, and they start mining for it. So on that question, just go to cryptollc.org. We have a spreadsheet there that has the prices there. But the prices are not perfectly accurate because it changes so much. Just a one day can change prices. They're pretty accurate, but if you wanted to inquire about buying some S19Js or something like that, we'd have to really, like that day, we have to go and ask the manufacturer, ask the farm, the person that operates the farm, hey, what's the price right now? Because it could have went down or could have went up or whatever. And then also depends on quantity too. If you want to buy like 100 miners or you want to buy 500 miners, it makes a big difference in price. You get a cheaper price if you buy more. All right, well, let me know, guys. Let me know in the chat what you guys think about live. I mean, there's obviously more content to do when I start doing live. Like I did like 45 minutes just talking about stuff. So that's pretty cool. So let me know. Let me know what other videos you want me to make. And this like live format. I could talk about GPUs or ASICs or whatever. I have some Hashsports. I can go over some S19 Hashsports. If we were to buy, we would buy nearly 1,000. Okay, yeah, we can do that. We can sell thousands and thousands. We have access to the manufacturer. We have Bitmain's region of sales, direct contact. We can get you any quantity you want. We can get you 5,000 if you want. We can get you 10,000 if you want. We also have the pricing for hydros. The very, very good pricing, by the way, that they only revealed at the Cancun conference. The people that know, we were at that conference last year for Bitmain's Cancun. So we have the pricing for hydros a very good rate, and they don't offer that to anyone. They only offer that to special clients, and we're one of those clients since we have that really good relationship with Bitmain. So If you want to get 1,000, sure, yeah. Send us an email. Go to cryptollc.org. Write us an email. We have our sales representative. He'll be in contact with you. And if you want to get 1,000, sure, we can shoot you over the real time prices as of right now, how much it would be for 1,000. Yeah, yeah, that's what I think too. Look at 45 minutes just talking to other miners. All right, well, hope you guys like it. And let me know what you guys think, and I'll think of what new content to make for, sometime this week, another live video. All right, you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys later this week. All right, goodbye.